Hey guys, tonight we're diving headfirst, quite literally, into a topic that might seriously make you question your own sleeping habits. We're going way back, to a time before memory foam, before fluffy pillows, even before mattresses, as we know them. Imagine, if you will, a world where bedtime didn't involve sinking into a cloud of softness, but rather, resting your weary head on something that looks suspiciously like a miniature carved wooden stool. You might be thinking, there's no way I'd survive that. And honestly, you're probably right. But ancient Egyptians, bless their ingenious hearts, had a rather unique approach to catching Z's, and it involved something called a headrest. Yes, a headrest, not a pillow. We're talking about a firm, often elevated support for the head, designed to keep your neck perfectly straight while your body lay flat. It sounds like a medieval torture device to our modern sensibilities, doesn't it? But for them, it was the height of comfort, or at least the height of practicality. Think about it. Our entire concept of comfort when it comes to sleep is built around softness, around sinking in, around being enveloped. The ancient Egyptians flipped that script entirely, opting for rigidity and precise alignment. This fundamental difference hints at a vastly different relationship with the body, with sleep, and even with the environment itself. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much of what we consider indispensable for a good night's rest is actually just a cultural construct. Before you get too comfortable, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here and want to join this journey through history's fascinating quirks. I always love hearing from you, so let me know where you're winding down tonight and what time it is for you. Are you on the East Coast, just settling in for the evening? Or are you in California, perhaps still enjoying a late afternoon? Your comments make this whole experience so much more interactive, transforming it from a one-way monologue into a shared exploration. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, creating that perfect peaceful atmosphere, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Leaving behind the modern world's demands and stepping back into the mysterious sands of ancient Egypt. Allow your mind to wander, to imagine what it truly felt like to live and sleep in a world so profoundly different from our own, where even the simple act of resting your head held layers of meaning we're just beginning to uncover. You find yourself in the soft glow of an oil lamp, the air thick with the scent of incense and the distant murmur of the Nile, a timeless river that has witnessed millennia of human stories. Your body is tired from a long day of, well, whatever it was ancient Egyptians did all day, perhaps hauling colossal stones for a pyramid that would defy time, or meticulously transcribing sacred hieroglyphs onto papyrus scrolls, or maybe just supervising the endless procession of daily life in a bustling, vibrant city like Memphis. As dusk settles, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, you prepare for sleep. But there's no plush bed or spring mattress awaiting you. Instead, beside your humble sleeping mat, typically made of reeds or woven fibers, sits this peculiar object. It's typically made of local wood, often sycamore or acacia, polished smooth from years of use, and frequently carved with elegant designs that speak to both functionality and artistry. Sometimes, for the more affluent, these headrests were even fashioned from more luxurious materials like gleaming alabaster, cool and smooth to the touch, or even precious ivory, intricately decorated. It has a flat or slightly curved top, meticulously designed to cradle the back of your skull, and a sturdy pedestal-like base, ensuring stability. You eye it with a mix of trepidation and resignation, a sense that this is simply the way things are. This is your pillow for the night, a silent sentinel promising a rest unlike any you've ever experienced. The initial impression upon encountering this ancient sleeping device is one of utter bewilderment. How can anyone possibly sleep like this? It defies every instinct we have about comfort. You gingerly recline, hesitantly positioning the headrest beneath your neck, and immediately your head feels exposed. It's not cradled, it's balanced, unsupported in the soft, yielding way you're accustomed to. It's a stark contrast to the luxurious softness of your modern pillow, which seems to swallow your head whole, conforming to every curve. The ancient Egyptian headrest, however, demands a certain posture. It isn't about conforming to you, it's about you conforming to it. It encourages your spine to align in a remarkably straight line, your neck to remain rigid, and your chin to tuck ever so slightly towards your chest. It's almost as if it's forcing you into a position of regal dignity, even in slumber, a posture that speaks to discipline and order. And indeed, for the ancient Egyptians, sleep wasn't just about passive rest, it was a transition, a small death before a daily rebirth, mirroring the sun's journey across the sky. The headrest, therefore, played a significant, almost ceremonial role in this nightly ritual, a tool for both physical and spiritual alignment. You might wonder, with a chuckle, if they ever woke up with a crick in their neck so severe they needed a personal chiropractor, perhaps a priest specializing in spinal adjustments, or even some form of ancient acupuncture. The truth is, their bodies were likely accustomed to it from childhood, adapting to this unique form of support from a very young age. Just as we adapt to our soft mattresses and contouring pillows, finding comfort in their yielding embrace, they adapted to the firm, unyielding support of their headrests. Think of it like this. If you spent your entire life sleeping on a solid rock, eventually that rock wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable in our modern sense, but it would feel normal, familiar, and perhaps even secure. Historians still debate the exact level of comfort these headrests provided, as our modern definition of comfort is so different from theirs. However, it's clear they served a purpose beyond mere neck support, a purpose so ingrained that it became a standard part of their daily and funerary practices. One fascinating practical reason often overlooked, and something that truly highlights the ingenuity of these ancient people, is the prevalence of elaborate hairstyles and wigs in ancient Egypt. Imagine trying to preserve a meticulously braided wig, perhaps adorned with beads and gold, or a complex coiffure that took hours to construct while sleeping on a regular squishy pillow. It would be an absolute disaster. The headrest, by elevating the head and preventing it from being flattened or dislodged, offered a remarkably practical solution to this very real ancient beauty dilemma. It was, in a way, the original anti-bed head device, ensuring that one's elaborate coiffure remained intact and presentable for the next day's activities. And here's a little-known fact. Some headrests even had small indentations or grooves specifically designed to help keep those elaborate wigs from slipping off during the night. A subtle but incredibly thoughtful detail. A truly fascinating little insight, isn't it? It just goes to show how every aspect of their lives, even something as intimate as sleep, was meticulously intertwined with their culture, their fashion, and their daily practices. It really makes you pause and consider, what everyday objects do you think we take for granted today that future historians might find completely bizarre or ingeniously practical for reasons we can't even imagine? As you settle your head onto the cool, hard surface of the headrest, a strange sensation washes over you. It's not painful, not exactly, but it's certainly not the yielding embrace you've come to expect from a pillow. Your neck feels oddly suspended, your head balanced rather than cushioned. It's a bit like trying to sleep on a very thick book, only less painful because it's specifically designed to fit the curve of your skull, contouring precisely to the curve of your occipital bone. You find yourself instinctively trying to adjust, shifting your weight, perhaps a little more to the left, then a little to the right, searching for that elusive sweet spot. But the headrest remains steadfastly, unyieldingly firm. There's no give, no sinking in, just unwavering support. You might even laugh to yourself imagining your ancient ancestors, just a few generations removed from the builders of the pyramids, grumbling about the newfangled soft pillows that would eventually replace these sturdy contraptions. Back in my day, they might lament from beyond the veil, we slept on proper headrests. None of this feather-filled nonsense that coddles your head into oblivion. This mental image highlights a fascinating cultural divide in the very definition of comfort, a divide that spans millennia. The design itself, though seemingly simple to our modern eyes, is quite peculiar and meticulously crafted for its purpose. Most headrests consist of two main parts, a curved, often crescent-shaped top section that precisely supports the back of the head, and a sturdy base or column that elevates it. The height varies significantly depending on the individual and the era, but it's always enough to keep your head completely clear of the sleeping mat, promoting air circulation and preventing hair or wigs from being flattened. You can almost hear a modern chiropractor sighing in relief at the thought of such consistent spinal alignment, even if the user experience leaves a bit to be desired for those of us accustomed to plushness. This particular one you're using tonight might be made of sycamore wood, known for its fine grain and durability, polished smooth from years of continuous use, perhaps with faint traces of ancient hands that once rested here. It's cool to the touch, and you can almost feel the faint vibrations of a long-forgotten world within its solid form, a connection across time. Remember that anti-bed head device we talked about in the last chapter? This is it in action, keeping your carefully styled hair from getting tangled or flattened. It's a strange little truth, but for the ancient Egyptians, practicality often trumped what we might consider conventional comfort, especially in a society that valued order and presentation. One common historical event associated with ancient Egyptian sleep, and indeed their entire culture, is the preservation of mummies and their elaborate funerary practices. And while the headrest wasn't directly involved in the mummification process itself, its profound symbolic role in protecting the head and ensuring a peaceful transition into the afterlife made it a crucial funerary item, often placed directly beneath the head of the deceased within the sarcophagus. Pharaoh Tutankhamun, for instance, had several exquisite headrests in his tomb, crafted from luxurious materials like ivory and turquoise, demonstrating their immense importance even in death, reflecting both status and spiritual belief. It's a little-known fact that some headrests found in tombs were actually miniature versions, too small for practical use, possibly intended for ritualistic purposes or as symbolic representations rather than actual sleep, highlighting their abstract power. Think of it. They weren't just for daily snoozing. They were conceptual tools for the journey to the next world, a kind of spiritual compass for the soul. Historians still actively debate the exact reasons for the prevalence of headrests over softer alternatives. Was it purely practical, given the hot, dusty climate where softer materials like feathers or cotton might degrade or harbor pests? Or was it deeply religious, tied to their beliefs about the body's posture and the soul's journey during sleep? Or perhaps it was simply a matter of what materials were readily available and durable in their environment, making wood and stone the logical choices. The answer is likely a fascinating combination of all three, weaving together pragmatism, spirituality, and resourcefulness. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian interior designer, perhaps even a priest or a high-ranking official, meticulously pondering the optimal height and curvature for these essential objects, considering both earthly slumber and the grander, more perilous, otherworldly journeys. This holistic approach to everyday items really sets them apart. As you lie there, trying to find that elusive sweet spot, perhaps shifting your chin or gently rocking your head, you begin to notice the subtle differences that this unique sleeping arrangement imposes. The cool wood against your skin feels different, almost grounding. The way your breath seems to move differently without the obstruction of a soft, enveloping pillow is noticeable. There's a greater sense of openness around your face. It's undeniably an adjustment, to be sure, and you might find yourself suppressing a yawn that feels rather unnatural in this relatively upright head position. However, the air, though warm from the Egyptian night, feels fresh around your face, unobstructed and circulating freely. Perhaps this was part of the appeal, the constant feeling of air circulating, preventing overheating and discomfort in the often stifling Egyptian nights. No suffocating plushness here, no sinking into a warm, enclosed space that might trap heat and moisture. It's a very open, almost exposed way to sleep, which ironically could have been a key to comfort in their climate. You might find yourself thinking, well, at least I won't get a stiff neck from a pillow that's too soft and offers no support, or one that's too hard and creates pressure points. And indeed, in a paradoxical way, the headrest offers a consistent, firm support that, once accustomed to, might actually prevent certain types of neck pain and misalignment that we often attribute to modern pillows. But getting accustomed is absolutely the key. It requires a period of adaptation. You have to wonder how many restless nights it took for an ancient Egyptian child to finally accept this as their normal, to find solace in its rigid embrace. Perhaps they had their own version of bedtime stories to help them drift off, tales of gods and pharaohs sleeping soundly on their magnificent headrests, or maybe stories of dream journeys made safe by these protective devices. And as you linger on the edge of sleep, you can almost hear the soft hum of the wind through the papyrus reeds outside, a gentle lullaby to accompany your journey into this truly ancient slumber, connecting you across time to those who slept here before. What modern conveniences do you think we would struggle most to live without if we were transported back in time? As your body begins to truly adjust to the peculiar, yet increasingly familiar embrace of the headrest, you start to appreciate something beyond its mere function, the sheer craftsmanship involved in its creation. These weren't simply rough-hewn blocks of wood haphazardly chopped and presented. Many were objects of considerable artistry, reflecting a deep respect for both utility and aesthetics. You can almost feel the smooth, cool grain of the wood beneath your head, perhaps the fine, even texture of sycamore, which was a common and favored choice in ancient Egypt due to its abundance, workability, and resistance to pests. Its natural properties made it eminently amenable to intricate carving and meticulous polishing, resulting in a surface that felt almost silken to the touch, despite its firmness. But the ancient Egyptians weren't limited to just wood. Their mastery of various materials allowed for an incredible range of headrest types, each speaking volumes about the owner's status, beliefs, and resources. It really makes you pause and consider how much effort they poured into something as seemingly simple as a bedtime accessory. Imagine, for a moment, a headrest carved from gleaming alabaster, a translucent, fine-grained form of gypsum or calcite, which would have felt incredibly cool and smooth against your skin, a welcome relief in the arid Egyptian climate. Its semi-transparent quality would have caught the faint moonlight filtering through a high window, casting ethereal glows, or perhaps one fashioned from precious ivory, its milky white surface intricately carved with protective deities, symbols, or even the owner's name in elegant hieroglyphs, a clear and undeniable testament to the owner's immense wealth, social standing, and connection to luxury goods. It truly puts our mass-produced foam pillows to shame, doesn't it? No one today is commissioning a custom-carved, jewel-encrusted memory foam pillow, are they? These ancient artifacts weren't just functional. They were statements, miniature sculptures designed for both earthly comfort and spiritual protection. The materials chosen for headrests were often dictated by what was readily available in the Nile Valley and its surrounding regions, but also profoundly influenced by their inherent properties and symbolic meanings. Wood, particularly sycamore and acacia, was durable, relatively easy to work with using ancient tools, and plentiful, making it a practical and accessible choice for everyday use by most social classes. But for the elite, the sky was literally the limit, constrained only by their wealth and the extent of their trade networks. Faience, a unique glazed ceramic material, was sometimes used, offering a beautiful range of blue or green hues that mimicked precious stones and evoked images of water and fertility. And then there were the truly luxurious ones, crafted from imported ebony, a dark, dense, and highly prized wood from Nubia, or even precious metals like gold. Though these opulent examples were almost exclusively found in royal tombs and likely served a more symbolic or ritualistic purpose for the eternal afterlife than daily slumber. It's a little-known fact that some headrests were even fashioned from fired clay, providing a surprisingly durable and perhaps even heat-dissipating surface for sleep in the arid climate, an ingenious solution for comfort and hygiene. You have to wonder if they had their own versions of artisan headrest makers, boasting about the perfect curve and optimal material for a truly restful and spiritually protected night. One common historical event that often highlights the grandeur and artistic prowess of ancient Egyptian artifacts is the excavation of royal tombs. The headrests found within these opulent resting places, like those belonging to the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun, are truly breathtaking examples of ancient artistry. They aren't just functional items designed for sleep. They are exquisite pieces of sculpture, often depicting powerful protective deities like Bes, the benevolent dwarf god of household, music, and childbirth, who is believed to ward off evil, spirits, and nightmares. Other headrests were adorned with intricate geometric patterns or figures of animals symbolizing protection and fertility, such as Taweret, the hippopotamus goddess. These carvings weren't just decorative flourishes. They were imbued with profound spiritual significance, believed to offer tangible protection to the sleeper, safeguarding their soul during the perilous journey through the dream world, which the Egyptians considered a liminal space between life and death. Historians still debate the extent to which these elaborate headrests were used daily by the living pharaoh versus being purely funerary objects specifically crafted for their eternal slumber. Were the pharaohs truly sleeping on golden-jeweled headrests every night, or were these reserved for their sacred transition into the afterlife? It's a question that continues to fascinate archaeologists and scholars alike. You can almost imagine an ancient Egyptian priest, perhaps a bit of a stickler for tradition and spiritual purity, meticulously inspecting a newly carved headrest, insisting that only a properly blessed and intricately carved headrest could ensure a peaceful dream and a safe passage for the soul. The very act of crafting these objects was likely imbued with ritualistic importance. As you lie there, the cool, smooth surface of the headrest supporting your head, you begin to notice the subtle perfection of the craftsmanship. The way the wood is perfectly smoothed, free of any splinters or rough edges, suggesting hours of meticulous sanding and polishing by hand. The slight curve that seems to instinctively cradle the base of your skull, even if the overall sensation is one of firm support rather than plush softness, speaks to an understanding of basic anatomy. It's a profound testament to the skill and dedication of ancient artisans who, despite lacking our modern power tools and advanced manufacturing techniques, created objects of both remarkable utility and enduring beauty. You might find yourself running a finger along the subtle carvings, feeling the subtle raised patterns, and imagining the countless hours spent by the craftsman, meticulously shaping and polishing each detail with simple copper or bronze tools. It's a far cry from simply tossing a mass-produced pillow into a generic pillowcase, isn't it? This ancient headrest doesn't feel like a disposable commodity. It feels like it has a story, a history, etched into its very fibers, passed down through generations. And as you drift closer to sleep, with the faint scent of ancient wood lingering in the air, you almost feel a tangible connection to the countless ancient Egyptians who rested their heads upon similar creations, their dreams, mingling with yours across the millennia. It's a powerful reminder that even in the most fundamental acts of daily life, like going to sleep, our ancestors infused their world with meaning, artistry, and a deep connection to their spiritual beliefs. What kind of modern, everyday object do you think will be considered a priceless work of art by future generations? And why? As the cool, firm surface of the headrest becomes less alien and more a part of your nightly routine, you begin to truly understand that for the ancient Egyptians, sleep was far more than just a mere biological necessity, a simple shutdown of the body for physical rest. For them, it was a profound spiritual journey, a nightly descent into the mysterious underworld before a glorious, eagerly awaited return with the rising sun. Your headrest, therefore, wasn't just a utilitarian piece of furniture, a simple place to rest your head and avoid hair entanglement. It was considered a sacred object, a powerful protective charm for your very soul as it ventured into the vast, unknown, and often perilous realm of the dream world. Imagine the immense weight of that symbolism resting literally beneath your skull. Pretty heavy stuff for something that just holds your head up, wouldn't you agree? It's like your modern memory foam pillow suddenly being imbued with the mystical power to guide your spirit through astral planes and protect you from unseen dangers. This deep-seated belief in sleep as a form of temporary death and rebirth is a common historical thread that permeates almost every aspect of ancient Egyptian culture and their intricate cosmology. Every morning, the magnificent sun god Ra was believed to be reborn, triumphing yet again over the darkness and chaos of the night, and every sleeper was believed to mirror this grand cosmic cycle on a personal level. To them, the dream state was not just random neurological activity. It was a liminal space, a fragile and potent bridge between the living world and the mysterious realm of the gods, the ancestors, and the departed. During this nightly voyage, you might encounter your deceased relatives, receive divine messages, and prophecies that could alter your destiny, or even battle malevolent forces and demons lurking in the shadows of the subconscious. The headrest, by elevating the head, was strategically thought to keep the sleeper safe and secure during this perilous nightly voyage, acting as a spiritual anchor for your spirit, preventing it from straying too far or becoming hopelessly lost in the shadowy depths of the dream world. And here's a little-known fact, illustrating just how deeply ingrained these beliefs were. Some headrests were even meticulously inscribed with specific spells, prayers, or invocations intended to ward off bad dreams, deter evil spirits, and ensure a peaceful, protective sleep that allowed for beneficial dream experiences. It's like having a built-in dream catcher, but far more ancient, far more potent in their belief system, and frankly, a lot less likely to fall apart in the laundry. These inscriptions weren't just decorative, they were functional magical texts, active components of the headrest's protective power, a direct line to the divine forces that govern the night. It speaks to a culture where the mundane and the spiritual were inextricably intertwined, where every object, especially one used during such a vulnerable state, could hold profound power. Historians still debate the precise rituals associated with preparing for sleep in ancient Egypt, as detailed accounts are scarce and often symbolic. While we know they valued cleanliness and often used scented oils and unguents to purify the body and the air, the specific incantations or gestures before lying down on a headrest are not fully understood. Were there special prayers whispered to Osiris, god of the underworld and rebirth, asking for safe passage through the night? Did they offer small libations of water or incense before resting their heads, a small offering to the unseen forces? We can only imagine the quiet solemnity and deep reverence with which they approached this daily act of surrender to the forces of night, a profound moment of vulnerability and spiritual trust. You can almost feel the gentle hum of sacred silence as you close your eyes, trusting this simple yet powerful object to be your guardian and guide through the mysteries of the night. The symbolism extended vividly to the very shape and decoration of the headrests themselves, transforming them into miniature altars or protective talismans. Many were carved with figures of protective deities whose powers were invoked during sleep. Prominent among these was Bes, the benevolent dwarf god who, despite his grotesque appearance, was deeply loved as a protector of the household, women, and children, known for scaring away evil spirits with his fierce gaze and rattling. Another frequently depicted deity was Taweret, the hippopotamus goddess of childbirth and fertility, offering her formidable protection for the sleeping individual, especially expectant mothers. Others might feature the Ankh, the iconic Egyptian hieroglyph representing eternal life, or the Eye of Horus, a powerful protective amulet believed to ward off evil and ensure good health and regeneration. These weren't just pretty designs or whimsical choices. They were integral to the headrest's function as a spiritual shield, a visual manifestation of its protective power. It truly makes your current pillow, with its generic pattern and purely utilitarian function, seem a bit, well, uninspired, doesn't it? Imagine waking up and knowing that a tiny, fierce god like Bes had been diligently standing guard over your dreams all night, or that the symbol of eternal life was literally beneath your head. It adds a whole new, profound layer of comfort and security, wouldn't you say? It transforms a mundane object into a powerful artifact. And as the gentle rhythm of your breathing deepens, you can almost feel the protective energy emanating from the ancient wood beneath your head. A sense of ancient guardianship guiding you safely through the dream world, just as it did for countless Egyptians before you, connecting your nightly rest to their timeless beliefs. Do you think modern societies, despite all our scientific understanding of sleep, have lost something of that spiritual depth and reverence for the act of resting? As you continue your journey into ancient slumber, your connection to the headrest deepens, prompting you to consider the tangible, physical evidence of these unique sleeping aids that have survived the relentless march of time. Unlike the fleeting comfort of a feather pillow, which would have long disintegrated into dust centuries ago, the sturdy and enduring nature of headrests, crafted from durable materials like wood, stone, or even ivory, has allowed them to survive the millennia. They offer us a remarkably tangible and intimate link to ancient Egyptian daily life, a direct window into the routines and beliefs of people who lived thousands of years ago. One common historical event that consistently brings these fascinating objects to light is the methodical archaeological excavation of tombs and burial sites across Egypt. Imagine the dusty, sun-baked earth of the desert, carefully being sifted and removed, gradually giving way to reveal not just grand sarcophagi, glittering gilded treasures and monumental statues, but also these relatively humble yet profoundly significant objects of daily ritual and personal comfort. It's like finding a perfectly preserved antique alarm clock next to a grand piano in a time capsule from centuries ago, a delightful and unexpected surprise that reveals a much more intimate human picture of life than the grand monuments alone can convey. The discovery of headrests in tombs is a particularly fascinating and poignant aspect of their enduring legacy. They weren't just for the living. Their importance extended profoundly into the realm of the deceased, where they were considered essential for the soul's perilous journey into the afterlife. You might picture a pharaoh laid to rest in their magnificent sarcophagus, adorned with untold riches, not on a pile of silken cushions, but with their head carefully positioned upon an elaborately carved and often highly decorated headrest, frequently made of precious materials befitting their royal status. This wasn't merely a decorative touch or an oversight. It was a deeply ingrained belief that this specific object would provide continued comfort, stability, and vital protection for the soul in the netherworld, echoing its crucial function in daily life. It was a tangible continuation of their earthly sleep ritual into their eternal rest. A little-known fact that adds another layer of intrigue is that some tombs, particularly those of the wealthy or royal, contained multiple headrests, sometimes of varying designs or materials. This suggests that perhaps different types were intended for various purposes, or even that they represented a symbolic collection for the deceased's complete spiritual well-being. Perhaps one headrest was specifically for dream travel, another for spiritual protection against malevolent forces, and yet another for simply ensuring the deceased looked fabulous and well-composed in the afterlife. The possibilities are endless for an ancient Egyptian interior decorator or funerary planner in the tomb planning business. This multiple inclusion speaks to the multifaceted symbolic importance of these objects, far beyond simple utility. Historians still debate the exact and complete significance of headrests being so consistently included in funerary contexts. Was it simply to ensure the deceased was physically comfortable in their eternal sleep, mirroring their earthly repose, or did they hold a deeper, more profound symbolic meaning related to resurrection, rebirth, and the safe passage of the soul? The widespread presence of headrests in the tombs of both royalty and commoners, though differing in material and elaboration, strongly suggests their universal and widespread importance across all social strata. It wasn't just a luxury for the elite. It was a fundamental necessity for everyone's journey beyond. You might envision a humble artisan, perhaps a potter or a weaver, carefully crafting a simple wooden headrest for their own burial, just as meticulously as a royal craftsman would for a pharaoh, both individuals believing implicitly in its essential role for the journey beyond this life. It's a powerful reminder that while their daily lives and societal roles were vastly different, the fundamental human need for rest, comfort, and a belief in something beyond the veil transcended all social divides. You can almost feel the dry desert air and the palpable excitement of an excavation site as you consider these unearthed treasures. Each scratch, each subtle imperfection, each sign of wear and tear on the ancient wood or stone tells a silent but eloquent story of countless nights of rest, of dreams dreamt, of secrets whispered, and of lives lived thousands of years ago. These artifacts are not just static museum pieces. They are vibrant historical records. It's a remarkable testament to the durability and thoughtful construction of these objects, especially when you consider how quickly our own modern pillows wear out, lose their shape, and often end up in a landfill, becoming part of disposable culture. The ancient Egyptians certainly knew how to build things to last, even their most intimate and seemingly mundane bedtime accessories. Their foresight ensures that their legacy continues to be studied and admired today, And as you imagine these precious artifacts, carefully documented, catalogued, and preserved in climate-controlled museum collections around the world today, you can almost hear the soft whispers of Egyptologists. These dedicated scholars pore over every minute detail, every carved line, every subtle variation in material and form, trying to unravel the enduring mysteries of ancient sleep, the rituals surrounding it, and the surprisingly consistent comfort, or perhaps the lack thereof from our perspective, of the humble headrest. It's a journey not just through time, but into the very heart of human experience, reminding us that even across millennia, the fundamental human need for rest and dreams remains a timeless constant. What modern household item do you think archaeologists, thousands of years from now, would find the most confusing, and what stories would they try to tell about it? You've now spent a few nights with your ancient Egyptian headrest, and while it's still undeniably far from the squishy, cloud-like embrace of your modern memory foam pillow, you're starting to get the hang of it. Your neck, surprisingly, hasn't staged a full-blown rebellion, protesting with aches and pains, and you're no longer flailing quite as much in search of a comfortable position. This slow, almost imperceptible adaptation is a profound testament to human resilience, our incredible capacity to adjust to new circumstances, or perhaps simply a deep-seated, undeniable desire for sleep, no matter how unconventional the sleeping arrangements might be. You might even find yourself chuckling at the thought of trying to explain this newfound comfort to a modern comfort enthusiast, accustomed to plush mattresses and down feathers. "Oh yes," you'd confidently say, perhaps with a twinkle in your eye, "my secret to a truly good night's sleep is a piece of carved wood. It really opens up the airways and prevents all that sinking in nonsense." The irony, of course, is that for the ancient Egyptians, this was just normal. The practicalities of using a headrest every single night must have been fascinating, woven seamlessly into the fabric of their daily routine. Imagine preparing for bed in ancient Egypt, a ritualistic unwinding from the day's labors. You'd first unroll your sleeping mat, perhaps a simple reed mat for commoners, or a more elaborate woven textile for the affluent, carefully spreading it out on the cool mud brick floor of your home, or even on a raised platform if you were well off. Then, with a deliberate motion, you'd carefully place your headrest at one end, ensuring it was stable and perfectly positioned. It wasn't just a matter of casually tossing it onto a bed. It was a deliberate act, almost a small ceremony of preparing for the night's journey. A common historical event in daily Egyptian life, well documented through texts and artifacts, was their strong emphasis on cleanliness and hygiene, and this likely extended meticulously to their sleeping arrangements. You can almost picture them meticulously dusting off their headrests before use, perhaps wiping them down with a damp cloth to keep them pristine and free from the desert's ever-present dust. A little-known fact, often overlooked in the grand narratives of pharaohs and pyramids, is that many surviving ancient Egyptian headrests show clear and undeniable signs of extensive wear and tear, including polished surfaces from repeated contact and subtle indentations that align with the curve of a human head. This strong physical evidence indicates that they were indeed used regularly, day in and day out, not just as ceremonial items reserved for special occasions or the afterlife. This suggests that despite their initial discomfort to our modern eyes, they were perfectly functional and accepted as a fundamental, indispensable part of everyday life and nightly repose. Historians still engage in lively debates about whether there were specific methods or poses for sleeping on a headrest that made it more comfortable or sustainable over long periods. Perhaps sleeping on one side with the headrest supporting the back of the neck was common, or even on one's stomach with the head turned to the side. The specific ergonomics of their daily use remain a subject of intriguing speculation. You can almost feel the dry, warm air of an Egyptian night as you settle in, the gentle breeze carrying the scent of dust and distant cooking fires. The sounds of the city, now muted by the approaching midnight, would have been your lullabies, the distant braying of a donkey, the soft rustle of palm fronds in the breeze, the faint murmur of human voices from nearby dwellings. And as you lie there, suspended above your mat, you begin to appreciate a subtle but significant practical benefit. The firm support means your head is elevated, which naturally creates space for air circulation around your neck and head. This elevation might have substantially helped with breathing, especially beneficial in a dusty environment or for those prone to snoring. There's no sinking into a pillow and feeling vaguely suffocated by its plushness, no obstruction of the airways. It's a surprisingly open and airy way to sleep, remarkably practical for a hot, arid climate. You might find yourself thinking, perhaps with a wry smile, well, at least my face won't be buried in a pillow all night, leading to those delightful sleep creases and pillow marks that seem to linger for hours after waking. The ancient Egyptians, ever practical and perhaps a bit vain given their elaborate beauty rituals, likely saw this elevated, unsmushed facial posture as a sensible solution to ensuring a good night's rest while maintaining their appearance. And imagine the sheer satisfaction of waking up, your meticulously styled hair relatively unruffled and intact, a testament to the headrest's surprising utility as both a neck support and a styling aid. It's like having a built-in neck support system that also happens to be a perfect complement to your morning routine. Who knew ancient sleep accessories could be so multifunctional and, in their own way, quite ingenious? Beyond the physical, consider the inherent simplicity and hygiene of the headrest. A hard, smooth surface is infinitely easier to clean than a fabric pillow filled with organic material, making it a much more sanitary option in a world without washing machines where pests and dust were constant concerns. You might even find yourself appreciating the minimalist approach to rest it embodies. No fluffing, no punching, no wrestling with your pillow to find the perfect position. It's just place your head and sleep. It is what it is, a steadfast, unchanging support. This forces a different kind of relaxation, a surrender to a fixed position, rather than the constant seeking of a conforming softness. And as you drift off into a truly ancient slumber, you realize that while the methods of achieving rest may differ wildly across cultures and millennia, the fundamental human desire for a good night's sleep, a moment of peace and recuperation, remains a timeless and universal constant. What aspects of our modern sleep habits do you think we could actually learn from the ancient Egyptians? Now that you've become somewhat accustomed to the rhythmic firmness of the headrest, almost befriending its rigid structure, you might find yourself contemplating its ergonomics, or what passes for ergonomics in the ancient world, a concept far removed from our modern understanding of cushioned support and contoured comfort. On first glance, and indeed for many initial nights, it seems completely counterintuitive. How can a rigid, often unyielding object, carved from wood or stone, possibly be comfortable, much less provide proper support for something as delicate and crucial as the human spine? Yet as you shift and adjust, subtly finding the point of balance, you begin to notice a peculiar kind of alignment it encourages. Unlike a soft, pliable pillow that allows your head to sink in any which way, potentially creating unnatural kinks in your neck, the headrest consistently forces your neck into a relatively straight, neutral position relative to your spine. It's almost like a gentle, yet constant, reminder to maintain good posture, even in your sleep, preventing the head from tilting too far back or forward. You might even find yourself wondering, with a genuine sense of curiosity, if this rigid, consistent support, devoid of the variable sink and bounce of modern pillows, actually prevented some of the common neck aches and spinal misalignments we so readily attribute to overly soft or poorly designed modern pillows. Could it be that the ancient Egyptians, through their sheer practicality and observation, were onto something profound with their peculiar brand of spinal alignment and consistent support, a wisdom we've perhaps lost in our pursuit of extreme softness? This concept challenges our preconceived notions of what comfortable sleep truly means. One common historical event that often highlights ancient Egyptian ingenuity is their profound understanding of anatomy, which is vividly evident in their sophisticated mummification practices and their remarkably advanced medical texts, some of which detail surgical procedures and treatments for various ailments. While it's true we don't possess detailed ergonomic studies from 3000 BC, complete with pressure maps and biomechanical analyses, it's entirely plausible, even highly likely, that they observed the effects of different sleeping positions on the body over time. They were keen observers of the human form, both living and deceased. A fascinating and often overlooked detail is that some surviving headrests exhibit a slightly concave top surface, meticulously designed to cradle the curve of the skull more precisely, rather than being a flat, unyielding block. This subtle but significant feature strongly suggests a degree of intentional ergonomic design, a thoughtful consideration of how the head and neck should be supported, rather than just a random block of wood. It's not memory foam, certainly, but it's a deliberate shape meant to optimally support the back of the head and the cervical curve. Historians still actively debate whether the consistent, firm support provided by a headrest might have actually prevented certain chronic spinal issues or degenerative conditions that could arise from less structured, more haphazard sleep surfaces. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian physician, perhaps a bit of a visionary in his time, prescribing a headrest for a patient complaining of a stiff neck or back pain, much like a modern doctor might recommend a firm mattress or a specially contoured pillow. Their medicine was often intertwined with practical remedies, and this might have been one of them. As you lie there, feeling the distinct and unwavering pressure points from the headrest, you might notice a striking difference from your usual sleep experience. Your head doesn't sink into it at all. Instead, it feels as though it's floating slightly above your sleeping mat, creating a palpable space between your head and the ground. This elevation allows for a continuous and unobstructed flow of air circulation around your neck and head. In the warm, often sweltering Egyptian climate, this would have been a significant and much appreciated advantage, a natural cooling system preventing uncomfortable overheating and allowing for a much cooler, more refreshing night's sleep. Imagine the relief compared to waking up with a sweaty head stuck to a plush, heat-retaining pillow. It's a surprisingly practical and climate-adapted design choice, even if it decidedly sacrifices the cloud-like softness and enveloping feel that we crave today. Furthermore, consider the inherent hygiene of such a design. A hard, smooth, non-absorbent surface is infinitely easier to clean and keep free from dust, insects, and sweat than a fabric pillow filled with organic material, making it a much more sanitary option in a world without modern washing machines or advanced detergents. You might even find yourself appreciating the minimalist efficiency of it. No need for constant fluffing, no wrestling or punching your pillow into submission. Just place your head and sleep. It's a remarkably straightforward and uncomplicated approach to rest, wouldn't you say? And as the firmness beneath your head becomes a comforting and predictable constant, you begin to realize that comfort, like so many aspects of human experience, is truly a fluid matter of perspective, cultural conditioning, and perhaps most importantly, adaptation. This ancient concept of comfort through firmness and alignment contrasts sharply with our modern pursuit of softness at all costs. We are conditioned to associate softness with luxury and relaxation, a sensory experience that cradles and yields. But the headrest suggests another path, comfort derived from stability, from proper posture even in repose, and from practical solutions to environmental challenges. Perhaps our constant battle with neck pain, stiffness, and disrupted sleep from overheating or dust mites could be partly alleviated by a reevaluation of these ancient principles. Could the very problems we try to solve with ergonomic pillows and temperature-regulating fabrics be, in some part, exacerbated by our insistence on excessive softness? It's a thought-provoking question that encourages us to look beyond our immediate cultural biases regarding what constitutes good sleep. The ancient Egyptians, operating within their own environmental and technological constraints, arrived at a solution that prioritized different aspects of well-being, aspects we might benefit from reconsidering. Think about the implications of this constant, firm support on the developing bodies of ancient Egyptians. From childhood, they would have been accustomed to their headrests, their cervical spines naturally adapting to this alignment. This might have led to stronger neck muscles and better posture throughout their lives, potentially reducing instances of back and neck problems that plague many modern societies with their soft, often unsupportive sleeping surfaces. While we don't have direct medical records to prove this, it's a compelling hypothesis based on the mechanics of the headrest. The firmness might have also provided a kind of proprioceptive feedback, making the sleeper more aware of their body's position even in unconsciousness, fostering a deeper connection to their physical form. It truly challenges the notion that softness equates to superior comfort or health. Sometimes the most effective solution is the simplest, most direct one, even if it feels unconventional to those accustomed to different norms. Ultimately, the experience of sleeping on an ancient Egyptian headrest is a powerful lesson in cultural relativity and human adaptability. It forces you to shed your preconceptions about sleep and embrace a completely different paradigm. It's a reminder that necessity is truly the mother of invention, and that ingenious solutions often arise from specific environmental and cultural needs. As you drift deeper into sleep, perhaps your dreams take on a clarity or a distinctness, unburdened by the sinking feeling of a plush pillow. The firmness beneath your head becomes a comforting constant, a grounding presence that connects you to thousands of years of human history. You realize that comfort, like beauty and wisdom, is truly a matter of perspective and a willingness to adapt. And perhaps, just perhaps, the ancient Egyptians knew a thing or two about getting a truly restorative night's rest, even if their methods felt like a torture device to our modern, pampered sensibilities. What other ancient technologies or practices do you think hold surprising wisdom for our contemporary lives? After a few nights of sleeping on the ancient Egyptian headrest, enduring its stark firmness and slowly adapting to its unconventional support, you find yourself in a deeply contemplative mood, inevitably drawing vivid comparisons to the plush, yielding comforts of your own time. It's a truly stark contrast, isn't it? On one hand, you have the firm, unyielding, almost architectural support of the headrest, a piece of carved wood or stone, uncompromising in its structure, demanding a specific posture. On the other, you envision the soft, yielding embrace of a modern pillow, promising a cloud-like slumber, conforming to every curve and contour, designed to erase all pressure points. You might even find yourself snickering at the mere thought of presenting a modern memory foam pillow with all its squishy conforming properties to an ancient Egyptian. They'd probably eye it with a mixture of profound suspicion and bewildered curiosity, wondering if it was some kind of elaborate trap, perhaps a highly inefficient sandbag, or even a bizarre, shapeless cult object. "Where's the support?" they'd ask, perhaps with a bemused shake of their elaborately coiffed head. And how, pray tell, does one keep one's meticulously braided wig or complex coiffure intact with this amorphous blob? The humor in this juxtaposition highlights the immense chasm between our historical and cultural definitions of comfort. This humorous juxtaposition of ancient and modern sleep aids brings vividly to mind a common historical event that transcends cultures and eras: the continuous, relentless evolution of tools and technologies developed by humanity to meet fundamental human needs, even something as seemingly simple and universal as sleep. From primitive straw mats laid directly on the ground, to elaborate canopy beds draped in rich fabrics, adorned with intricate carvings, and then to the minimalist yet functional headrests, and finally to our contemporary adjustable beds with smart features, humanity has always sought to optimize rest. Yet, the ancient Egyptian headrest stands out as a unique divergence from what we perceive as the linear path towards ever-increasing softness and plushness. It represents an alternative philosophical approach to sleep support. A little-known fact broadening our historical perspective is that headrests, in various forms and materials, were also widely used in other ancient cultures across the globe, including parts of Africa, Asia, like Japan and China, and the Pacific Islands. This widespread use suggests that the fundamental concept of elevating the head during sleep wasn't exclusive to Egypt, even if their versions became particularly iconic and well-preserved. Historians still debate whether the absence of soft pillows in ancient Egypt was purely due to practical limitations concerning available materials that could withstand the climate and pests, or if there was a deeper cultural and even physiological preference for firm support, perhaps intrinsically linked to their beliefs about the body, health, and the vulnerable state of the soul during sleep. Did they genuinely prefer the firmness, believing it to be healthier for the spine, or was it simply a matter of making the best of what was available? You can almost hear an ancient Egyptian intellectual, perhaps a bit of a purist or a traditionalist, arguing vehemently that true rest and rejuvenation comes from proper alignment and unwavering support, not from sinking into a feathery abyss that offers no stable foundation for the spiritual journey of sleep. This intellectual debate likely mirrored the practicalities of their daily lives. where efficiency and longevity often took precedence over ephemeral softness. As you lie on your headrest, feeling its steady, unchanging presence beneath your skull, you are inevitably forced to reflect on the sheer, almost extravagant, luxury of modern sleep accessories that saturate our markets today. We live in an era of unprecedented comfort customization. Adjustable beds that massage you into slumber, pillows filled with everything from organic buckwheat hulls to cooling microbeads and scientifically engineered gels, mattresses designed by astrophysicists to evenly distribute body weight. It's a veritable smorgasbord of comfort technologies designed to cater to every conceivable preference. And then, in stark contrast, there's this simple, elegant piece of carved wood, a silent testament to a different age. It forces you to confront the powerful idea that comfort is, to a large extent, not an objective universal truth, but rather a culturally defined and learned sensation shaped by environment, technology, and belief systems. What felt profoundly comfortable and practical to them would have been utterly alien and uncomfortable to us, and vice versa. You might even find yourself developing a strange sort of respect, perhaps even a quiet admiration, for the headrest. It doesn't pamper you. It demands a different kind of surrender, a trust in its unwavering, consistent support rather than its cushioning embrace. It's a very honest, almost minimalist form of sleep, remarkably free from the excessive pampering and endless choices of the modern world. There's no need to fluff it, no worries about it losing its shape or developing uncomfortable lumps, and certainly no debates about its ideal firmness. It simply is. It is what it is, a constant, stable foundation for your head. And you, the sleeper, simply adapt. This lack of fuss and constant adjustment actually introduces a new kind of mental ease, a simplicity that our over-engineered sleep environments sometimes lack. It's a fascinating lesson in finding comfort in simplicity and consistency. And as you drift off into a truly ancient slumber, with the gentle pressure of the wood beneath your head, you realize that while the methods and technologies for achieving rest may differ wildly across millennia, the fundamental human desire for a good night's rest, for mental clarity, physical restoration, and a temporary escape from the waking world, remains a timeless constant. The headrest, in its unyielding simplicity, reminds us that comfort is a flexible concept, and that sometimes the most basic, durable solutions can serve our deepest needs just as effectively, if not more so, than the most technologically advanced ones. What historical objects or practices have you encountered that completely redefined your understanding of an everyday concept? As you spend more time with your ancient Egyptian headrest, a rather practical and frankly ingenious benefit starts to emerge, one that perhaps didn't immediately spring to mind when you first eyed its unyielding, somewhat intimidating form. Forget neck support and spiritual journeys for a moment, and consider the truly elaborate hairstyles and wigs that were all the rage, an absolute fashion statement in ancient Egypt. From intricate braids adorned with precious beads and gold to towering, majestic coiffures that could add significant height and gravitas, ancient Egyptians, both men and women, invested significant time, effort, and considerable resources into their hair and wigs. These weren't just simple styles, they were often complex works of art, meticulously constructed and maintained. Now, imagine trying to preserve such a masterpiece, a fragile sculpted coiffure, while tossing and turning on a soft, squishy modern pillow that offers no firm structure. It would be an absolute disaster. You'd wake up looking like you'd valiantly wrestled a baboon in your sleep, with tangled, flattened, and disheveled locks, certainly not ready for an audience with the pharaoh or a dignified appearance in the bustling marketplace. This practical problem needed an equally practical solution, and the headrest provided it beautifully. This is precisely where the ancient Egyptian headrest truly shines, revealing its surprising utility beyond mere comfort. It provides a stable, elevated platform for your head, crucial for keeping your carefully styled hair or intricate wig entirely off the sleeping surface. This prevents friction, crushing, and dislodgement, allowing the coiffure to maintain its shape and integrity throughout the night. It's a common historical fact, evidenced in countless tomb paintings, statues, and preserved artifacts, that ancient Egyptians were incredibly particular about their personal appearance and hygiene. and hair was an absolutely crucial part of that self-presentation and identity. The headrest, by its very design, firm and elevated, ensures that your precious locks, whether natural or a wig, remain relatively untouched, preventing tangles, flattening, and the dreaded bedhead chaos that we modern folk know all too well. It's a testament to their foresight and attention to detail, even in the realm of beauty. A little-known fact, often discovered during the meticulous study of these artifacts, is that some headrests even exhibit subtle indentations, grooves, or a more pronounced concave curve specifically designed to accommodate a wig or a particularly voluminous hairstyle, further suggesting their deliberate role in hair preservation. It's like the original overnight hair protector, far more sophisticated and robust than simply wrapping your hair in a flimsy silk scarf or bonnet. Historians still engage in fascinating debates about whether this hair-preserving function was a primary design consideration from the outset, a driving force behind the headrest's invention, or merely a happy, convenient secondary benefit that made an already practical item even more indispensable. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian noblewoman, perhaps a queen or a high priestess, meticulously arranging her elaborate wig before bed, confident that her sturdy headrest would keep it pristine and perfectly coiffed until morning, ready for her to resume her duties without hours of restyling. You might even find yourself admiring this clever, albeit unconventional solution to a very real and time-consuming ancient problem. Think of the sheer hours saved on daily hairstyling, especially for the elite who wore the most complex wigs. No need to meticulously rebraid, recurl, or repin a complex wig every single morning. The headrest allowed for a surprisingly efficient and time-saving beauty routine, a true innovation in personal care. It makes our modern struggles with frizzy hair, flattened volume, or dealing with unruly morning hair seem almost trivial by comparison, doesn't it? We might have advanced pillows with cooling gels and ergonomic curves, but do they actively protect our hairstyles from the ravages of sleep with the same elegant simplicity as a piece of carved wood? Probably not as effectively or with such inherent practicality. This functional aspect really transforms the headrest from a mere sleeping aid into a surprisingly sophisticated beauty tool. And as you feel the cool, steady support beneath your head, firmly keeping your imaginary wig perfectly positioned, you can almost imagine the faint, subtle scent of ancient hair oil or fragrant unguents that would have been used to condition and style hair, clinging to the polished wood. This olfactory connection brings to life a vivid picture of the vanity and practicality that coexisted, often seamlessly, in the lives of the ancient Egyptians, all facilitated by this remarkable and multifaceted sleeping aid. It wasn't just about utility. It was about living well, looking good, and maintaining one's status even in slumber. This dual purpose, practical hair care and comfortable rest, makes the headrest an even more fascinating artifact of their daily lives. This often overlooked function of the headrest as a hair-preserving device reminds us that human ingenuity often finds elegant solutions to seemingly disparate problems, blending practical needs with cultural practices and personal aesthetics. It encourages us to think beyond our own modern comforts and appreciate the unique challenges and solutions of ancient civilizations. The headrest isn't just an archaeological curiosity. It's a window into the daily lives, beauty routines, and practical considerations of a people who lived thousands of years ago, proving that sometimes the simplest design can offer the most profound multitasking benefits. What modern product do you think serves two completely different purposes in a similarly elegant way? Having adapted to the unique comfort of the headrest, a comfort rooted in firmness rather than plushness, you now begin to notice another, subtle yet incredibly powerful layer of its significance, its role as a silent yet unmistakable social status symbol. Just like our modern world differentiates wealth and position through luxury cars, designer clothes, bespoke jewelry, or even exclusive zip codes, ancient Egypt used the materials, craftsmanship, and decorative embellishments of personal possessions to silently broadcast a person's standing within their rigid social hierarchy. Even in something as seemingly mundane and intimate as a sleeping aid, you might find yourself resting on a simple, well-worn wooden headrest, perfectly functional and perhaps even lovingly smoothed by years of use, reflecting the humble yet dignified life of a common artisan, farmer, or laborer. But then, your mind conjures the images of pharaohs and nobles' headrests, gleaming with gold, inlaid with vibrant semi-precious stones, and crafted with unparalleled artistry, and the contrast couldn't be more stark. It's like comparing a sturdy, unbranded but reliable armchair to a bespoke, hand-stitched, silk-upholstered chaise lounge from a high-end designer. Both serve the fundamental purpose of seating, but one whispers privilege, power, and prestige, while the other simply says function. A common historical event often vividly depicted in the elaborate tomb paintings and reliefs of the Egyptian elite, or evidenced by the sheer opulence of archaeological finds, is the lavish lifestyle that the aristocracy and royal family enjoyed. Their personal possessions, including even their most intimate items like headrests, were no exception to this display of wealth. The material from which a headrest was made was a primary and immediately recognizable indicator of wealth and social standing. While readily available sycamore wood was common for the masses, a headrest meticulously crafted from rare, imported ebony, a dark, dense, and highly prized wood brought from distant Nubia, would have been an undeniable sign of immense luxury, signifying extensive trade connections and considerable expense. Even more exquisite were those fashioned from alabaster, a smooth, cool, and translucent stone that shimmered subtly, or the truly rare and magnificent ivory, often intricately carved with divine figures, royal symbols, or even complex hieroglyphic inscriptions detailing titles and blessings. A little-known fact, frequently revealed during the meticulous excavation of royal and noble burials, is the astonishing degree of embellishment these opulent headrests received. Particularly those from royal interments, like the iconic ones belonging to Tutankhamun, were often lavishly adorned with gleaming gold leaf or even intricately inlaid with dazzling semi-precious stones, such as vibrant turquoise, symbolizing life and happiness, and deep blue lapis lazuli, associated with royalty and the heavens. These additions transformed them into veritable pieces of jewelry or miniature sculptures, designed not just for rest but for eternal display, serving as a powerful visual testament to the deceased's enduring power and wealth in the afterlife. Historians still engage in fascinating debates about whether the symbolic and ostentatious value of these opulent headrests overshadowed their practical use for daily sleep, or if the pharaohs genuinely enjoyed resting their regal, heavily adorned heads on such magnificent, albeit hard, creations nightly. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian noble, perhaps a bit of a snob by modern standards, discreetly admiring the polished sheen and intricate carvings of their imported ebony headrest, knowing that this seemingly private object subtly but powerfully proclaimed their elevated position in society to anyone who observed it. Beyond just the raw materials, the sheer quality of craftsmanship also played a significant and often unspoken role in conveying status. A headrest designed for a person of humble means might have been simple, sturdy, and entirely utilitarian, carved efficiently for function. But for the wealthy elite, master artisans, often supported by royal patronage, would spend countless hours meticulously carving intricate patterns, delicate hieroglyphs, or powerful protective deities onto the surface. These weren't just mass-produced items churned out in a workshop. They were often unique, bespoke pieces, commissioned by the elite to reflect their personal taste and their connection to the finest artisans of the land. Imagine the profound difference in texture and finish, from a roughly hewn piece of wood to one polished to a mirror-like sheen that reflected the flickering lamplight. This level of dedication and artistic skill speaks volumes about the value placed on even the most personal and private items, transforming them into works of art. You might find yourself tracing the imagined lines of a complex carving on your own modest headrest, if it were one for a commoner, wondering about the stories it might have told if it could speak, about the hands that crafted it, and the lives it supported. The simple elegance of functional design versus the flamboyant display of wealth and artistry reveals a fascinating aspect of ancient Egyptian society. Even in the quiet solitude of night, when one might assume external status symbols would be set aside, the headrest served as a constant, subtle reminder of one's place in the cosmic and social order. It underscores how deeply intertwined social Hierarchy was with every aspect of ancient Egyptian life, from the grand temples to the most personal possessions. And as you drift closer to sleep, feeling the firm support that once underpinned the dreams of an ancient people, you recognize that even in the quiet solitude of night, when the rest of the world was hushed, the symbols of status continued to subtly define the ancient Egyptian world. The headrest was not just a tool for sleep, it was a silent billboard, a tangible manifestation of wealth, power, and societal standing, carried into the deepest hours of the night and beyond, into eternity. It's a powerful reminder that even our most personal items can reflect the broader values and structures of our society, bridging the gap between the individual and the collective. What modern everyday object do you think best signifies social status today, and why? As you continue to surrender to the unique embrace of the headrest, a sense of its profound spiritual significance, deeply embedded within ancient Egyptian beliefs, begins to resonate more strongly with you. For them, slipping into slumber wasn't just a physical reprieve from the day's labors, a mere closing of the eyes. It was a cosmic journey, a nightly sojourn of the soul into the duat, their intricate and often perilous underworld. Your headrest, therefore, wasn't merely supporting your head, providing physical alignment. It was understood to be acting as a vital anchor, a protective vessel, or even a miniature spiritual boat for your bay, your unique personality and mobility of the soul, and your K, your vital life force or spiritual double, as they ventured forth from the body. It's a heavy, almost awe-inspiring thought for something that just holds your head up, isn't it? Imagine your squishy memory foam pillow being imbued with the power to ensure your spiritual return from a journey through the afterlife. Its comfort, now intertwined with immense spiritual responsibility. This deeply held belief in the nocturnal journey of the soul during sleep is a pervasive and fundamental common historical event woven throughout the very fabric of ancient Egyptian mythology, funerary practices, and daily rituals. Every night, as the magnificent sun god Ra traversed the perilous underworld in his solar bark, battling chaotic forces and fearsome serpents to be triumphantly reborn at dawn, so too did the human soul embark on a similar, albeit smaller and personal journey. Dreams were not dismissed as random firings of the brain. They were considered direct and often potent communications from the gods or deceased ancestors, or even fleeting glimpses into the future, crucial messages that could guide one's waking life. It was therefore absolutely crucial that the soul remained protected and could find its way back to the body safely by morning, ensuring the continuity of life. A little-known fact, often gleaned from the meticulous translation of ancient texts, is that some funerary texts, particularly those found in the extensive coffin texts written on sarcophagi and the famous Book of the Dead, papyrus scrolls placed with the deceased, contain specific spells and incantations. These were not just for the deceased. They were designed to ensure the safe passage and return of the living soul during nightly sleep, mirroring the grander journey of the deceased into the afterlife. Historians still debate the exact mechanisms by which the Egyptians believed the headrest offered this crucial spiritual protection. Was it the mere elevation, keeping the soul literally tethered to the body by preventing it from sinking too deeply into the realm of the dead? Or did the meticulously carved symbols and materials on the headrest actively ward off malevolent entities and chaotic forces that might try to snatch the vulnerable soul? You can almost hear an ancient Egyptian priest, perhaps a bit melodramatic and theatrical in his delivery, explaining the perilous nightly adventures your soul undertakes and the critical, almost magical, role your humble headrest plays in your safe and timely return by sunrise. You might even find yourself reflecting more deeply on your own dreams as you lie on this ancient support, attuned to its spiritual implications. Do they feel different? Perhaps more vivid, more meaningful, or even more easily recalled? The ancient Egyptians certainly thought that the sleep environment could influence dream experiences. They believed that by carefully controlling their sleep environment, through objects like the headrest and protective amulets, they could actively influence their dreams, seeking divine guidance, receiving prophecies, or ensuring protection from nightmares. This is precisely why many headrests were profusely adorned with powerful images of protective deities like Bes, the grotesque yet benevolent dwarf god, universally loved for his ability to scare away evil spirits and nightmares. Similarly, Taweret, the formidable hippopotamus goddess of fertility and childbirth, was often depicted, offering her powerful protection to the sleeper, especially for pregnant women. These images weren't just decorative. They were believed to be actively working vigilant guardians, keeping your soul safe from the lurking dangers and chaotic forces of the dream world. It makes your modern pillow, with its generic pattern, perhaps a simple floral or geometric design, seem rather passive and utterly devoid of spiritual purpose, doesn't it? Your pillow is a receiver of your head, not a protector of your soul. Imagine, if you will, a tiny, fierce Bes carved into the wood beneath your head, his comical yet formidable face, silently standing guard over your nightly cosmic adventures, his protective presence a tangible reassurance. This profound integration of the mundane with the sacred underscores how deeply spiritual the ancient Egyptians were, seeing divine purpose and protective magic in the most everyday objects. Every aspect of their lives, even the most private and vulnerable moments like sleep, was carefully curated to align with their cosmological beliefs and ensure their well-being, both earthly and otherworldly. And as the gentle hum of the night settles around you, feeling the firm, grounding presence of the headrest, you almost feel a faint, reassuring energy emanating from the ancient wood itself, a quiet promise of a safe return from your own nightly journeys, whatever subconscious paths they may take. This enduring connection to their beliefs, even through a simple piece of furniture, is a powerful testament to the human need for meaning and security. The headrest is more than just a relic. It's a profound reminder that for ancient Egyptians, sleep was not just a biological necessity, but a sacred transformative journey, a nightly act of faith and renewal, guided by tangible and symbolic guardians. Do you think our modern world has lost some of that spiritual reverence for the act of sleep, reducing it to mere biological function? As you grow more accustomed to the firm embrace of the ancient Egyptian headrest, your perspective subtly shifts, and you start to see it not just as a functional object, a rigid support for the head, but as a surprisingly elegant canvas for profound artistic expression. These weren't simply mass-produced identical items churned out in a factory. Many were undeniably handcrafted works of art, imbued with the refined aesthetic sensibilities, intricate craftsmanship, and rich symbolic language of a civilization that famously valued beauty, order, and harmony in every aspect of their lives. Imagine tracing the smooth, deliberate lines of a carved lotus flower, a recurring motif in Egyptian art, symbolizing creation, rebirth, and the sun, or the elegant upward curve of a papyrus plant, representing flourishing life and the marshes of the Nile. Such intricate details elevate these pieces far beyond mere utility. It's a far cry from the largely utilitarian and often indistinguishable designs of modern pillows, wouldn't you say? No one's commissioning a hand-carved foam pillow, are they? The level of artistic dedication to such a personal, yet everyday item is truly remarkable. A common historical event often highlighted in studies of ancient Egypt is their incredible artistic skill and their mastery of various crafts, evident in everything from monumental architecture like the pyramids and grand temples to delicate, intricate jewelry and meticulously crafted sarcophagi. Headrests, though often personal and utilitarian items, were certainly no exception to this pervasive artistic excellence. Many extant examples, painstakingly unearthed by archaeologists, showcase truly remarkable craftsmanship, featuring intricate carvings, detailed hieroglyphic inscriptions that convey blessings or names, and even vibrant painted decorations that brought them to life with color. The variety in artistic styles, from simple geometric patterns to complex mythological scenes, demonstrates the breadth of their creative expression even within a seemingly simple object. A little-known fact, often discovered through cross-referencing archaeological finds, is that the artistic motifs and symbolic imagery found on headrests often mirrored those found on other significant funerary objects, temple decorations, or royal regalia, reinforcing the profound interconnectedness of their daily life with their spiritual beliefs and grand cosmological narratives. For instance, you might find a headrest depicting protective deities like Isis and Nephthys, the mourning goddesses who were believed to shield the deceased and guide them in the afterlife, or even a stylized representation of the Jed pillar, an ancient symbol of stability, endurance, and the backbone of Osiris. These artistic choices were deeply meaningful, embedding layers of spiritual protection and cosmic significance into the very object that supported one's head in slumber. Historians still engage in fascinating debates about the exact extent to which these artistic elements were purely aesthetic embellishments versus serving a more potent magical or protective function, acting as tangible talismans. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian artisan, perhaps a bit of a perfectionist with a deep understanding of sacred symbolism, meticulously carving a bird's wing with feathered precision or a flowing hieroglyph with calligraphic grace, knowing that this object would serve its owner not only in life, but also during the mysterious and vital journey beyond. As you lie there, feeling the coolness and subtle texture of the carved surface beneath your head, you can almost sense the dedication and patience of the hands that shaped it thousands of years ago, the way the wood was smoothed to an almost silky finish, the precision of the cuts that delineated intricate patterns, the subtle undulations that create a sense of movement or texture. It speaks volumes about the value placed on craftsmanship and the belief that even personal items should be aesthetically pleasing and imbued with care. It's a powerful reminder that even everyday objects, designed for the most basic human needs, could be elevated to enduring works of art, reflecting the high standards and artistic prowess of the civilization. This headrest isn't just a place to rest your head. It's a small, intimate sculpture, a piece of portable art that accompanied someone through countless nights, witnessing their dreams and waking moments. Imagine the personal connection an ancient Egyptian might have felt to their own beautifully crafted headrest, knowing the hours of artistry that went into its creation and the protective symbols carved upon it. This contrasts sharply with our modern consumer culture, where mass-produced goods often lack that individual touch or deeper meaning. The headrest becomes a tangible link to a world where utility and beauty were not separate concepts, but often intertwined, where even a functional object could tell a story, embody a belief, or display exquisite skill. It encourages a deeper appreciation for handmade items and the intrinsic value of craftsmanship that often gets lost in our fast-paced, industrialized world. And as you drift closer to sleep, feeling the unique contact point of the ancient design, you recognize the echoes of ancient beauty and artistic intention, a silent testament to a culture that infused even the most humble of items with profound meaning and artistry. The headrest is a microcosm of ancient Egyptian culture, itself practical, spiritual, and deeply artistic. Its enduring presence in archaeological records allows us to touch, literally and figuratively, the very heart of their daily lives and their sophisticated worldview, proving that even in the quiet of sleep, art found its place. What modern, everyday item do you believe has the potential to become a work of art for future generations, and what might it symbolize? Having spent more time with your ancient Egyptian headrest, feeling its specific brand of support, you begin to ponder the broader context of sleep hygiene in their world, a concept that, while not formally defined as such in antiquity, was certainly practiced in various forms. It wasn't just about the headrest itself, but the entire environment surrounding their rest, a comprehensive approach to nocturnal well-being. Unlike our modern concepts of plush private bedrooms, often climate-controlled, soundproofed, and adorned with soft furnishings, ancient Egyptian homes were typically more communal and open-plan. Sleeping areas might have been partitioned by simple reed mats, thin fabric screens, or even just designated corners of a larger room, allowing for sounds and scents to permeate. You might imagine the sounds of a bustling household, children playing, food being prepared, conversations slowly quieting down as the sun set, painting the sky with fiery hues, preparing for a night of collective rest. It's a stark contrast to our carefully curated sanctuaries, isn't it? Yet, despite these differences, their inherent approach to cleanliness and order extended even to their sleep environment. A common historical event that powerfully underscores ancient Egyptian practicality and their advanced understanding of environmental factors is their remarkable emphasis on personal hygiene and what we might call public health. They were meticulously particular about cleanliness, a necessity in a hot, arid climate prone to disease. This involved daily rituals like bathing, often using natron, a natural salt, as soap, applying perfumed oils to their bodies, and generally maintaining relatively clean living spaces given the arid environment and lack of modern sanitation. This ingrained dedication to cleanliness naturally extended to their sleeping arrangements. A little-known fact, extrapolated from archaeological findings and surviving texts, is that while we don't possess detailed ancient Egyptian treatises specifically on sleep hygiene as a medical discipline, archaeological evidence strongly suggests they kept their sleeping mats, bedding materials, often linen, and the sleeping areas themselves relatively clean. The headrests themselves, being non-porous and made of solid materials like wood or stone, would have been incredibly easy to wipe down and sanitize, contributing significantly to better hygiene compared to animal hides or fabric pillows that could easily harbor pests, dust, and sweat in their humid climate. Historians still debate the prevalence of specific sleep-related ailments or disorders in ancient Egypt, but it's clear they sought to create as conducive and hygienic an environment for rest as possible within their technological means. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian housewife or a diligent servant, perhaps a bit of a neat freak, meticulously sweeping out the sleeping area with a broom made of reeds and ensuring the headrests were free of the pervasive desert dust before nightfall. You might find yourself appreciating, on a purely practical level, the natural ventilation provided by the headrest. There's no sinking into a warm, enclosed, and often suffocating pillow that traps heat and moisture around your head. Instead, the headrest's design actively allows air to circulate freely around your head and neck, preventing heat buildup. In the sweltering, often oppressive Egyptian climate, where temperatures could remain high even after sunset, this would have been a profoundly significant comfort, promoting a cooler, more refreshing, and less restless sleep. It's a very practical, climate-adapted design choice, even if it feels incredibly unconventional and initially uncomfortable to your modern sensibilities. And think about the crucial aspect of pest control in an environment teeming with insects and rodents. A firm, elevated headrest made of solid materials is far less inviting, much more inaccessible, and significantly easier to inspect and keep, clear of insects, scorpions, or rodents than a soft, ground-level pillow made of organic fibers that could serve as a perfect nesting site. Perhaps this was an unappreciated benefit, a silent protector against nocturnal invaders that contributed immensely to its long-standing and widespread use across millennia. You might even chuckle at the thought of an ancient Egyptian parent telling their child, with a mix of earnestness and a hint of a jest, "Now, remember to put your head on your headrest, not on the ground, so the scorpions don't crawl into your ear during the night." While perhaps a simplified joke, it highlights the very real practical considerations of living and sleeping safely in that environment. As you settle into a deeper state of relaxation, you realize that their approach to sleep, while vastly different from ours, was deeply rooted in a keen understanding of their challenging environment and a pragmatic, enduring desire for clean, effective, and safe rest. This holistic view of sleep hygiene, where the object, the environment, and daily rituals all played a part, offers valuable lessons for our modern world. While we focus on specialized pillows and mattresses, the Egyptians understood the importance of an integrated approach. Their headrests, in a sense, were part of a larger system designed to ensure well-being during the vulnerable state of sleep. This contrasts with our often fragmented approach to sleep, where we might invest heavily in one aspect, e.g. a high-tech mattress, but neglect others, e.g. air quality, room temperature, bedtime routines. The simplicity and durability of the headrest also suggest a sustainability in their sleep solutions that we often lack today, with products designed for obsolescence. The communal nature of ancient Egyptian homes also implies a different sensory experience of sleep. Instead of absolute silence, they would have drifted off to the ambient sounds of their household and the natural world outside. This suggests a different relationship with noise, perhaps less a distraction and more a familiar backdrop. While we often strive for complete silence, they adapted to, and perhaps even found comfort in, the gentle hum of life around them. This adaptability to their sensory environment is another facet of their sleep hygiene that challenges our modern norms. The headrest's design, which allowed for good air circulation, would have been particularly effective in a multi-person sleeping space, preventing stuffiness and promoting a fresher atmosphere for all. Ultimately, by examining their approach to sleep hygiene, we gain a deeper appreciation for the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians. Their solutions were not necessarily about plush comfort, but about robust practicality, cleanliness, and efficiency within their environmental constraints. The headrest was a key component of this system, working in harmony with their living spaces and daily habits to provide effective rest. As you reflect on these broader contexts, you realize that true sleep hygiene isn't just about the pillow under your head, but about creating a comprehensive environment that supports physical health and mental tranquility, a timeless lesson from an ancient civilization. What aspects of ancient Egyptian sleep hygiene do you think could be most beneficial for us to adopt in our modern lives, and why? Having absorbed so much about the intimate and often surprising world of the ancient Egyptian headrest, from its practical utility to its spiritual significance, you might find yourself wondering, what do the experts think about this peculiar object? The truth is, even after centuries of archaeological discovery, painstaking artifact analysis, and meticulous scholarly study, the humble headrest continues to spark lively and sometimes even passionate debates among leading Egyptologists and archaeologists. It's a common historical event in virtually any field of ancient study. The tantalizing gaps in our knowledge, the fragmentary evidence, and the vast cultural distance that keeps scholars passionately arguing over nuanced interpretations, each proposing compelling theories based on their expertise. Imagine, if you will, a bustling academic conference, not about astrophysics or quantum mechanics, but about something as seemingly specific as optimal headrest curvature or the precise function of a particular carving. It's truly fascinating how a seemingly simple utilitarian object can generate so much intellectual curiosity, rigorous research, and spirited discussion, revealing the profound depth within seemingly mundane historical artifacts. One of the primary and most enduring points of contention among scholars is the exact level of comfort these devices genuinely provided to their ancient users. While we, with our modern penchant for extreme softness, plush cushioning, and ergonomic contouring, might instinctively recoil at the mere thought of resting our heads on a hard piece of wood or stone, many respected Egyptologists argue that ancient Egyptians, accustomed to hard surfaces from childhood, from sitting on hard floors to perhaps sleeping on firmer mats, likely found them perfectly comfortable, or at the very least, highly functional and entirely acceptable within their cultural context. Their bodies and expectations would have been entirely different from ours. A little-known fact that adds complexity to this debate is that some theories, supported by skeletal analysis and experimental archaeology, suggest specific sleeping postures, such as sleeping predominantly on one side with the headrest cleverly supporting the neck and shoulder, might have been far more common and surprisingly ergonomic than simply lying flat on one's back. This specific posture could have distributed pressure differently and maintained spinal alignment more effectively. Historians still fiercely debate whether the absence of softer alternatives in the broader population was purely a matter of material availability and preservation challenges in the arid climate, or if there was a conscious, deliberate preference for the firm, consistent support offered by the headrest due to perceived health benefits, spiritual efficacy, or even its ability to preserve elaborate hairstyles. You can almost hear a heated exchange between two prominent Egyptologists at a symposium. But Professor Jenkins, the cervical spine alignment patterns in the mummies strongly suggest a clear physiological preference for rigidity, countered by, "Nonsense, Dr. Smith. It was simply the most practical and hygienic solution for preserving their elaborate coiffures and preventing pest infestations in a hot climate." Another significant point of scholarly discussion revolves around the symbolic versus practical usage of the more elaborate and opulent headrests, particularly those found in the sealed, treasure-filled tombs of pharaohs and high-ranking nobles. were the exquisite gold and ivory headrests of rulers genuinely used for daily slumber during their lifetimes, gracing their royal bedrooms each night? Or were they primarily ritualistic objects, specifically crafted to aid the soul in its perilous journey through the afterlife, acting as powerful amulets and spiritual anchors in eternity? The prevailing evidence suggests a fascinating blend of both purposes, but the precise balance between daily use and funerary significance remains a compelling topic of ongoing research and reinterpretation. Some scholars lean towards the idea that while simpler wooden versions were for daily use, the most lavish ones were funerary. Conversely, others argue that the very act of resting one's head on such a sacred and beautifully crafted object in life imbued the sleeper with divine protection and ensured well-being, making them both functional and profoundly symbolic. It's a complex puzzle, isn't it? Trying to disentangle the sacred from the mundane in an ancient culture where the two were often inextricably linked. The further you delve into the scholarly discussions, the more layers of meaning and interpretation you uncover, showcasing the richness of historical inquiry. The debates also extend to the headrest's geographical distribution and potential influences. While Egypt's headrests are famously distinct, the presence of similar elevated head supports in other ancient African, Asian, and Pacific cultures leads to questions of independent invention versus cultural diffusion. Did the idea spread through trade routes, or did different societies simply arrive at similar solutions for similar practical problems? This fuels academic discussion on global cultural interconnectedness in antiquity. Each new archaeological find, each new translation of an ancient text, can shift the prevailing theories, making the field of Egyptology a dynamic and evolving one, far from being static or fully understood. It's a constant process of discovery and reinterpretation, much like peeling back the layers of time itself. The very act of observing and studying these ancient objects provides a unique lens through which to understand not only ancient Egyptian life but also the nature of historical inquiry itself. It teaches us patience, critical thinking, and the humility to acknowledge that our modern perspectives are not universal. We must strive to understand the past on its own terms, appreciating its unique challenges and ingenious solutions. The headrest, in its simple yet profound existence, becomes a focal point for understanding ancient ergonomics, hygiene, social stratification, religious beliefs, and artistic expression, all wrapped up in one compelling artifact. It's a testament to the fact that even the most seemingly ordinary objects can hold extraordinary stories. And as you feel the unyielding yet steady support of your own ancient headrest providing a tangible link to millennia past, you silently contribute to this grand scholarly debate, perhaps even developing your own nuanced theory on how on earth anyone managed to get a truly good night's sleep on this thing. Your personal experience adds a subjective layer to the objective, archaeological data, making the history of sleep feel much more alive and immediate. The headrest is a powerful reminder that history isn't just about kings and battles, but about the everyday experiences of ordinary people and the ingenuity they employed to navigate their world, even in the quiet hours of the night. It invites us to constantly question our assumptions and to find wonder in the familiar. As you continue to surrender to the unique embrace of the headrest, a profound understanding begins to settle within you. For the ancient Egyptians, the act of waking from sleep was as profoundly significant and ritualized as the act of going to bed. It wasn't just shaking off the grogginess of the night, reaching for an alarm clock, and begrudgingly starting the day. It was viewed as a daily rebirth, a triumphant re-emergence into the vibrant world of the living, mirroring the majestic and triumphant rise of the sun god Ra each morning from the eastern horizon. Your headrest, therefore, played a subtle but crucial role in this ritual of reawakening, having faithfully guarded your soul through the darkness. Imagine the visceral feeling of lifting your head from the cool, firm surface, not sinking out of a soft nest, but a conscious, almost physical declaration of your return from the spiritual journey of the night, your spirit re-anchoring to your body. It's a far more profound and deliberate transition than simply rolling out of your comfy modern bed and hitting the snooze button. Wouldn't you agree? It imbued the morning with purpose and gratitude. This deeply ingrained belief in daily Rebirth is a common historical event woven into the very fabric of ancient Egyptian cosmology, mythology, and even their intricate funerary beliefs. Just as the deceased were meticulously prepared for their ultimate rebirth in the afterlife, undergoing mummification and elaborate burial rituals, the living underwent a miniature daily version of this cosmic cycle every single night. The headrest, by providing a stable and elevated position for the head, was believed to ensure that the vital life force, or K, remained properly aligned with the body throughout the vulnerable period of sleep, facilitating a smooth, complete, and unhindered transition back to full wakefulness and consciousness. It was a kind of spiritual tether, ensuring the integrity of the individual. A little-known fact, found in ancient Egyptian funerary literature, is that some specific spells in texts like the coffin texts and the Book of the Dead were also expressly designed to assist the deceased in waking up and navigating the challenges of the afterlife, directly demonstrating the profound importance of this concept of conscious reemergence, both in life and beyond. Historians still debate whether there were specific morning rituals or prayers directly associated with rising from the headrest, designed to thank the gods for a safe return from the duat and to prepare the soul and body for the day ahead, acknowledging the renewed gift of life. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian, perhaps a farmer or a scribe, stretching luxuriously as the first golden rays of dawn touched their sleeping mat, illuminating the contours of their headrest. You imagine them perhaps murmuring a silent prayer of gratitude to Ra for another day of life, for the safe return of their soul, their headrest having been their vigilant guardian through the darkness of night. This daily act of gratitude and reconnection with the cosmos would have been an integral part of their morning routine, a stark contrast to the rushed, often stressful beginnings of our modern days. The headrest, in its very structure, facilitates this kind of conscious rising. You might even find yourself noticing a subtle, yet discernible shift in your own perception and energy as you wake up on this ancient support. Without the soft pillow to burrow into, to cling to for a few extra moments of oblivion, your head feels lighter, more alert, and surprisingly ready to engage with the demands of the day. There's a certain crispness to the act of rising, a feeling of having been truly apart from the world during your slumber, and now being fully and distinctly present once more. It's a very clean, unambiguous break between the realm of night and the realm of day. There's no lingering softness to cling to, no desire to pull the covers back over your head for just 5 more minutes of blurred reality. The headrest, in its unyielding yet supportive way, subtly encourages you to fully awaken, to embrace the new day with clarity, and to acknowledge the fresh start it represents. This subtle prompting for full awakening ties into the ancient Egyptian emphasis on order, purpose, and the cyclical nature of existence. Each day was a new opportunity, a reflection of cosmic renewal. The headrest, by fostering a sharp distinction between sleep and wakefulness, supported this worldview. It wasn't just a physical object, it was a partner in their daily spiritual renewal, helping them to consciously transition from the chaotic, liminal space of dreams back into the ordered, purposeful world under the sun's gaze. This reinforces how deeply integrated their spiritual beliefs were into even the most mundane aspects of their daily lives. And as you lift your head from its solid, steadfast support, feeling the fresh morning air against your face, you feel a faint yet distinct echo of that ancient sense of renewal, a quiet energy preparing you to face whatever adventures the sunlight might bring. The headrest, in its simplicity, becomes a profound teacher, revealing that the act of waking can be as meaningful and transformative as the act of sleeping, a daily rebirth that ancient Egyptians consciously celebrated. What modern habits or rituals do you have that help you transition from sleep to wakefulness, and do you feel they hold any deeper meaning? Having now intimately experienced the unique and profound utility of the ancient Egyptian headrest, your perspective widens and you realize that the fundamental concept of a firm, elevated head support wasn't exclusively confined to the banks of the mighty Nile. While Egypt's exquisitely crafted and well-preserved headrests are perhaps the most famous and iconic, similar devices, designed for very similar purposes, have been unearthed documented, or are still in use in various forms in other ancient and even contemporary cultures across the globe. It's a fascinating testament to the remarkable ingenuity of different civilizations independently finding remarkably similar solutions to the universal human need for effective rest and comfort, often adapting to their unique environments and cultural practices. You might find yourself musing with a sense of global connection. So, it wasn't just an Egyptian quirk after all. There were other folks out there, separated by vast oceans and continents, who also preferred solid head support to fluffy, yielding comfort for their nocturnal repose. This widespread independent invention speaks volumes about shared human challenges. A common historical phenomenon that highlights both cultural diffusion and independent invention is the discovery of similar technologies, tools, or cultural practices arising in geographically separated societies without direct contact or spreading through trade. Headrests in various forms and materials are a prime example. They have been found throughout parts of sub-Saharan Africa, particularly in regions like Nubia, which historically had strong ties with Egypt, and Sudan, but also further south in countries like Ethiopia, Congo, and Zimbabwe. In these areas, headrests continued to be used culturally and practically well into modern times by some communities. These African headrests often exhibit incredibly diverse and beautiful designs, sometimes featuring intricate tribal carvings that hold deep cultural significance or made from a single, smoothly carved piece of wood, reflecting their distinct cultural aesthetics and spiritual beliefs. Furthermore, archaeological finds and historical records in ancient China and Japan have also revealed distinct forms of elevated head supports, often made from materials. Like hard ceramic, porcelain was common, sturdy wood, or even hardened leather. A little-known fact that directly parallels the Egyptian experience is that some traditional Japanese headrests, called makura, were designed specifically with a very practical purpose: to protect elaborate, often intricate hairstyles, particularly those of geishas or samurai, from becoming disheveled during sleep. These makura were even sometimes used with small bags of fragrant herbs or dried flowers placed on top, providing a pleasant scent and a calming effect, a subtle enhancement of the sleep experience. Historians still engage in intriguing debates about whether these similar devices across continents arose purely from independent invention, driven by very similar practical needs like preserving hairstyles, providing better ventilation in hot climates, or controlling pests, or if there was some degree of ancient cultural exchange, perhaps through early trade routes or migrations, that subtly led to the spread of the idea of elevated head support. You can almost picture ancient travelers, perhaps intrepid merchants or curious explorers, observing the sleeping habits of different peoples they encountered and bringing new, useful ideas back home, including the humble, yet effective headrest. As you consider this broader historical and geographical context, encompassing diverse cultures, you recognize that the fundamental human desire for effective rest and comfort, combined with prevalent environmental factors like heat, humidity, or pests, and deeply ingrained cultural practices like elaborate hairstyles, often led to remarkably diverse yet functionally similar solutions. The specific materials might have differed dramatically: dense wood in Egypt, glossy ceramics in China, intricately carved pieces in various African tribes, but the underlying principle of elevating the head, providing firm support, and promoting air circulation remained a consistent, recurring theme across disparate civilizations. This global convergence on a similar design highlights a shared human ingenuity in addressing universal needs. This exploration into the global prevalence of headrests offers a fascinating glimpse into the shared practicalities of ancient life across vast distances and different climates. It dismantles the notion that the Egyptian headrest was a unique anomaly, and instead positions it within a broader human story of adaptation and invention. It shows how fundamental needs can inspire similar solutions, even when cultures are isolated from one another. This deep dive into comparative anthropology of sleep practices enriches our understanding of what comfort and rest truly meant in different historical contexts. And as you lie on your ancient Egyptian headrest, feeling its familiar, unwavering support, you feel a connection not just to the Egyptians, but to countless individuals across different continents, diverse cultures, and vast eras who, like you, sought a good night's rest on a firm, elevated support. It's a powerful reminder of our shared humanity and the ingenious ways our ancestors found peace in the night, no matter where they laid their heads. This wider perspective truly transforms the headrest from a peculiar artifact into a universal symbol of human adaptability and innovation in the pursuit of rest. What other seemingly unique ancient technologies do you think might have had similar, widespread independent inventions across different cultures? Your journey through ancient Egyptian sleep has now brought you to consider the practicalities of a life that was often surprisingly mobile, far from the static images we might typically conjure of ancient civilizations. While we might imagine scenes of daily life confined to villages and cities, ancient Egyptians, especially those in certain professions or of high status, were surprisingly nomadic or embarked on extensive journeys. Pharaohs embarked on military campaigns, expanding their empire and securing trade routes. Priests traveled between distant temples and sacred sites for rituals and pilgrimages, and ambitious merchants traversed incredibly long distances across deserts and along rivers for vital trade, bringing exotic goods from faraway lands. This constant movement brings up an intriguing and highly practical question. How did they manage to get their quality sleep, or at the very least, their consistent head support, while away from the established comforts of home? The concept of portable headrests certainly comes to mind, hinting at a practical solution for the ancient traveler. It's like imagining a modern business traveler meticulously packing a miniature, foldable, ergonomic version of their elaborate office chair or special mattress. A slightly absurd, yet entirely logical and practical consideration for those who prioritize their comfort and well-being on the go. A common historical event that powerfully demonstrates ancient Egyptian mobility is their extensive trade networks, which stretched far beyond the Nile Valley, reaching across the Near East, the Levant, and deep into the heart of Africa. Such arduous journeys, often lasting weeks or even months, would have necessitated numerous overnight stops and temporary encampments. During these periods of travel and outdoor lodging, the familiar comfort, or perhaps the familiar discomfort, depending on your personal perspective and level of adaptation, of a headrest would have been a profoundly welcome constant, offering a sense of stability and normalcy in unfamiliar, sometimes harsh, landscapes. A little-known fact, often discovered during the analysis of archaeological finds from remote outposts or temporary settlements, is that some headrests discovered in these contexts are notably smaller, lighter, or simpler in design compared to the elaborate pieces found in permanent homes or tombs. This stylistic and material variation strongly suggests they might have been specifically intended for travel, designed for portability and durability rather than elaborate display. These portable versions might have been less ornate, perhaps made of lighter, easily carried wood, and designed for efficient packing and quick setup. Historians still debate the precise extent to which average citizens engaged in long-distance travel, but for soldiers on campaign, high-ranking officials on inspection tours, and enterprising merchants, a lightweight, durable, and easily transportable headrest would have been an invaluable personal possession, a key to consistent rest on the move. You can almost picture a seasoned Egyptian traveler, perhaps a veteran soldier or a weary caravan leader, unrolling their simple mat by a flickering campfire under the vast desert sky, and then with a practiced motion, carefully positioning their sturdy, travel-sized headrest, a familiar comfort in an otherwise unfamiliar and often challenging landscape. The quiet routine of preparing their sleep space, no matter where they would have provided a much-needed sense of order and security at the end of a long, arduous day. This portable design speaks volumes about the ancient Egyptians' foresight and their pragmatic approach to living well, even when facing the rigors of travel in a pre-industrial world. You might find yourself appreciating the inherent durability and low maintenance of a headrest in such scenarios, unlike a soft pillow made of organic materials that could easily become damp, dirty, infested with pests, or simply disintegrate during outdoor excursions and prolonged travel. A solid wooden or stone headrest would have been incredibly resilient. It could be easily cleaned with a quick wipe, wouldn't absorb moisture, and provided a stable, unyielding surface no matter where one laid their head, be it on sandy ground, a rocky outcrop, or a makeshift wooden platform. It was a no-nonsense, reliable sleeping aid, perfectly suited for the often harsh realities and unpredictable rigors of ancient travel. Imagine the profound relief of having that consistent, predictable support for your head, even when sleeping, under the open stars or in a rustic, hastily constructed encampment. This practicality underscores how well-suited the headrest was to their lifestyle, which wasn't always static and settled. This adaptability of the headrest to both settled and mobile lifestyles truly highlights its ingenious design. It served a consistent purpose across various environments, from the inner sanctum of a home to the vast open desert. This versatility suggests that the headrest was not merely a cultural quirk, but a highly effective piece of equipment, evolving to meet the diverse needs of an active and often traveling population. It reminds us that ancient technologies were often far more sophisticated and multifunctional than we sometimes assume, designed for a full range of human experiences. And as you drift off, perhaps imagining yourself on a desert journey, you can almost hear the soft whispers of the desert wind carrying the ancient sounds of a distant caravan, imagining the countless travelers, soldiers, and merchants who found their restorative rest, thanks to the simple, yet profoundly enduring, and adaptable design of their portable headrests. Their foresight in creating such a versatile item speaks to a deep understanding of human needs and environmental challenges, a timeless lesson in practical innovation. What modern travel accessory do you find absolutely indispensable, and how do you think it compares in practicality to a portable ancient headrest? As your deep dive into the fascinating world of ancient Egyptian sleep approaches its conclusion, a fundamental question continues to linger, perhaps the most intriguing and persistently debated one of all. How comfortable were these headrests? Truly, despite all the undeniably practical benefits we've explored, the ingenious hair preservation, the undeniable hygienic advantages in a world without modern sanitation, the profound spiritual protection believed to be afforded to the sleeping soul, the sheer, unyielding firmness of these devices remains a stark, almost jarring contrast to our modern expectations of slumber, which are defined by plushness, softness, and contouring. It's a powerful testament to human adaptability, isn't it? To take something that at first glance and to our conditioned senses looks frankly torturous or at best awkward, and integrate it so completely into a daily, accepted routine for thousands of years. You might find yourself chuckling at the very thought of attempting to explain to a modern pillow salesman, surrounded by his wares of memory foam and down alternatives, that true, restorative comfort can, in fact, come from a solid, unmoving piece of carved wood or stone. A common historical event, a recurring theme throughout human history, is our remarkable and often overlooked capacity to adapt not only to our natural environment, but also to the available resources and prevailing technologies. The widespread and incredibly long-standing use of headrests in ancient Egypt, spanning millennia and present across all social strata, strongly suggests that they were indeed functional and, crucially to their users, sufficiently comfortable within their cultural context. They weren't just enduring out of necessity. They were accepted as a viable, effective solution for rest. A little-known fact, gleaned from meticulous archaeological examination, is that many surviving headrests show clear signs of use: smooth, polished surfaces where skin regularly made, contact, and even subtle depressions or wear patterns worn into the wood or stone over centuries of consistent use. This isn't the kind of wear you see on an object that was rarely used or found unbearable. It indicates continuous, intimate contact and adaptation by the human head and neck. Historians still engage in robust debates about whether the comfort experienced by ancient Egyptians was purely a matter of ingrained habit and conditioning from early childhood, or if the firm, consistent support genuinely offered a different kind of beneficial rest compared to softer, less structured alternatives that would have been prone to collapsing, losing shape, or overheating in the warm, humid climate. You can almost hear an ancient Egyptian grandmother, perhaps a bit of a traditionalist and certainly no stranger to firm discipline, scolding her grandchild for complaining about their headrest. "Stop your whining, child. It builds character, keeps your neck strong, and your hair perfect for the morning." Ultimately, this journey forces you to ponder the very definition of comfort itself. Is it merely the sensation of softness, of sinking into a yielding surface that molds to your body? Or is it also stability, consistent support that maintains proper alignment, and profound practicality within one's specific environment and cultural parameters? The enduring mystery of how comfortable these headrests truly were lies inherently in our inability to truly step into the subjective sensory experience of an ancient Egyptian. We can meticulously analyze the bone structure of mummies, study the wear patterns on artifacts, and delve into the historical and cultural context, but the precise, subjective sensation of rest, the feeling of contentment, relief, or deep relaxation remains elusive, lost to time and individual perception. Yet their civilization flourished for thousands of years, building monumental wonders, creating profound art, and developing complex societies, all while sleeping on these headrests every single night. It's a powerful reminder that our modern notions of luxury and comfort are just one particular way of experiencing the world, shaped by our specific environment, technology, and cultural values. The headrest challenges our anthropocentric view of comfort. We tend to project our own standards onto the past, often failing to recognize that what was optimal for one civilization might be completely different for another. This object serves as a tangible prompt to consider the diverse ways humanity has addressed universal needs, leading to a richer appreciation of cultural variation. It encourages a deeper, more empathetic understanding of historical daily life, moving beyond superficial judgments of primitive versus advanced. This exploration into the headrest's comfort also highlights the remarkable adaptability of the human body. Our bodies are incredibly resilient and capable of adjusting to a wide range of stimuli and conditions. The fact that generations of Egyptians grew up and thrived using these devices suggests a fundamental plasticity in our physical and sensory experiences. It implies that perhaps our pursuit of extreme softness in sleep has made us less adaptable, potentially even more vulnerable to discomfort if those perfect soft conditions aren't met. There's a subtle wisdom in the headrest's rigid simplicity, a lesson in finding equilibrium with what is, rather than perpetually seeking an idealized, often elusive, softness. And as you feel the unyielding yet steady support beneath your head, a tangible connection to an ancient way of life, you realize that true comfort, ultimately, is a deeply personal and incredibly adaptable concept, one that is profoundly shaped by the times and the cultures we inhabit. The ancient Egyptian headrest, far from being a mere historical curiosity, becomes a powerful symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and the fascinating diversity of the human experience of rest. It leaves you with a lingering thought. Perhaps, true comfort isn't about the softness of the surface, but the peace and security it provides, a universal truth echoed across millennia. What aspect of ancient Egyptian life beyond the headrest do you think challenges our modern definition of a good or comfortable life the most? As your immersive journey through the ancient Egyptian night finally draws to a close, and the phantom sensation of the headrest's firm support lingers, you're left with a profound, almost tangible appreciation for their truly unique approach to rest. This entire experience culminates in the enduring and surprising legacy of the humble headrest. It's clearly far more than just a peculiar piece of carved wood, stone, or ivory, as you might have initially perceived it. Instead, it emerges as a multifaceted symbol of their deep ingenuity, their complex beliefs, and their incredible adaptability in the face of environmental and technological constraints that would daunt us today. From the incredibly practical need to preserve elaborate hairstyles and intricate wigs, a task a modern, squishy pillow would utterly fail at, to the deep spiritual conviction that sleep was a nightly journey of the soul into the mysterious and often perilous underworld, a vulnerable yet vital cosmic voyage, the headrest encapsulated so much of what defined ancient Egyptian life and worldview. It's undeniably a far more layered and fascinating story than just the simplistic notion that they slept on rocks, isn't it? Its deceptive simplicity truly belies its profound and diverse significance across their culture. A common historical understanding that consistently reinforces the extraordinary ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians is their remarkable ability to create sophisticated, often elegantly designed solutions for everyday problems, frequently blending utilitarian function with deep spiritual or symbolic meaning. The headrest stands as a prime, compelling example of this unique cultural trait and pervasive design philosophy. It was, simultaneously, a highly practical tool for daily physical comfort and essential hygiene in a hot, dusty climate, preventing overheating and pest infestation. It also served as a clear and undeniable symbol of social status and wealth, with materials ranging from simple wood for commoners to gleaming gold and precious inlays for the elite, showcasing their societal position even in slumber. And crucially, it was a vital protective amulet for the vulnerable sleeping soul, guarding it during its perilous nocturnal journey through the duat. A little-known fact that speaks volumes about its efficacy and widespread acceptance is that the fundamental design of the headrest remained remarkably consistent over thousands of years of Egyptian civilization, spanning numerous dynasties and periods. This enduring consistency strongly suggests that it was a highly effective and well-accepted solution, perfectly suited to their needs, rather than merely a transient trend or a temporary adaptation. Historians still engage in lively, ongoing debates about the exact extent to which other ancient cultures might have influenced the distinct Egyptian headrest design, or if it was largely an independent invention, born purely from their unique environmental and cultural circumstances. What is abundantly clear, however, is its pervasive and ubiquitous presence throughout Egyptian society, from the humblest dwelling of a common laborer, often made of mud brick, to the grandest, most opulent royal tomb, filled with treasures. You can almost picture an ancient Egyptian elder, perhaps a wise keeper of family traditions and stories, meticulously passing down their well-worn family headrest through generations. Each subtle mark, each smooth polish, and every minute imperfection on its surface would serve as a silent testament to the countless lives and dreams it supported, connecting past and present within the family line. This familial continuity highlights the headrest's integral role not just as an object, but as a part of their cultural heritage, cherished and preserved across time. The collective legacy of ancient Egyptian sleep, profoundly embodied by the enduring presence of the headrest, is a powerful testament to fundamental human resilience and the boundless diversity of human culture. While our modern beds and pillows offer a vastly different kind of comfort, one rooted in extreme softness, plushness, and complex technological customization designed to cater to every ergonomic whim, the compelling story of the headrest reminds us that optimal rest, profound rejuvenation, and even spiritual security can be achieved in countless equally valid ways. These diverse methods are profoundly shaped by our immediate environment, by deeply held cultural beliefs, and by ingenious, often surprisingly simple, design solutions. It fundamentally challenges our deeply ingrained assumptions about what truly constitutes a good night's sleep, pushing us to consider alternative paradigms and to respect diverse forms of comfort. You might find yourself looking at your own modern pillow differently now, perhaps with a newfound appreciation for its familiar softness and conforming properties, but also undeniably with a curious respect and even a sense of wonder for the ancient, unyielding support that served a magnificent civilization for millennia. As the last embers of the flickering oil lamp begin to fade into the twilight, and the distant, imagined sounds of the ancient world start to soften and recede, you carry with you the quiet, profound understanding that the path to dreams, to true physical and mental rest, and to connection with the unseen can be as diverse, as fascinating, and as deeply meaningful as the cultures that embark upon it. The headrest, in its humble yet profound elegance, leaves an indelible mark on your understanding of rest, transcending its physical form to become an ancient secret, whispered softly across the vast sands of time, continuing to resonate and inform our understanding of human ingenuity and adaptation through the ages. It's a reminder that even the simplest objects can be imbued with rich layers of meaning and history, becoming portals to a distant past. This final reflection brings a sense of completeness to your journey. You've experienced not just a historical object, but a cultural philosophy. The headrest stands as a powerful symbol of how human beings, regardless of time or place, find ways to adapt, innovate, and imbue their daily lives with meaning. It's a testament to the enduring human quest for comfort, protection, and connection, even in the most vulnerable hours of sleep. As the final whispers of the ancient world dissipate, you're left with a deeper understanding of what it means to rest, informed by the wisdom of a civilization long past. What aspects of ancient Egyptian ingenuity, beyond the headrest, do you find most surprisingly relevant or insightful for our modern world today? End of script. Sweet dreams.